You're listening to the Round the Blind podcast with Ben and Levi. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit subscribe for more content. Now let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Round the Blind podcast. So today, I have a little bit of a somber tone because it was the opening day of teal season and went out and didn't kill anything. So a little bit upset. But, you know.
You should be used to that now, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting used to it out here in Virginia. But, no, it wasn't a bad morning. It wasn't too bad. We sat out till about 10:30 and then picked up. But, man, the wood ducks were thick. So, I mean, obviously we can't shoot wood ducks during teal season. So that was just kind of ruined our day, but didn't see a single teal. Just saw a ton of wood ducks. But anyways, this episode we got a good one for you. We're joined with Mr. Jason Allen. He runs the American Waterfowlers Facebook page, and he also runs Ackley Outdoors. He's got a bunch of interesting insight to give us. He comes from Idaho, which is intriguing to me because, you know, I'm not going to say, I mean, there's duck hunting everywhere, but Idaho is a very interesting place to talk about waterfowl hunting and talk about hunting in general. There's just a ton of wildlife and opportunities out there. So what's going on?
I don't think I've ever met anyone from Idaho until Mr. Jason.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks we're all potato farmers.
Right, yeah.
What's going on, man?
So Jason,
you can go ahead and tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do, and you know how you started getting into hunting, and whatever other information you want to share with us.
So I was born and raised in Idaho. Been fortunate enough to live here my whole life. I first started getting into hunting. I shot my first deer at 12 years old because, you know, back when I was a kid, Idaho was way behind the curve and you couldn't start hunting until you were 12. And so, you know, but from that first deer that I shot, you know, I was hooked from that point on. You know, my dad's always been into hunting and everything. He got me started into it. You know, even when before I could hunt, I'd still go out, go deer hunting or elk hunting, just tagging along, even running after antelope. Didn't get started into hunting waterfowl until probably about I was early 20s. You know, I'd gone after just about everything, and you know, I kept hearing people talking about, you know, going duck hunting, going goose hunting. I was like, well, I want to try that out. A buddy of mine, we got talking about it, and so he said, well, you know, hey, I'll take you out goose hunting with me. I got out, sat up out in the middle of the field, sitting in a layout blind. You know, of course, I didn't have anything. I was borrowing everything except for my shotgun, and you know, just having everybody's hitting the calls and watching those birds working, and as soon as those geese locked up, started dropping in the field, and we popped up, started shooting. I was hooked. After that, you know, it's become my favorite type of hunting. You know, if I had to choose just one, you know, waterfowl is going to be the way to go.
So you said that in Idaho, like back when you were a kid, you couldn't hunt until you were 12?
Yes.
Like tote a gun in the woods and shoot an animal, but you could, like, if your dad was, you could go with your dad, right? If I'm hearing that correctly.
I could go shoot squirrels or jackrabbits or something like that. But as far as
big game,
as far as any big game,
yeah,
couldn't do it at the time until you're 12. Now I think it's, now I believe it's 10 for some things, 8 for other things.
I think that's what it was for us. I think that's what it was for us when I was a kid. It was 10, and then because we had to go through the hunter safety course, you couldn't go through it until you're 10. But you could always go hunting, you know, with your parents or whoever had a hunter safety course, and then just you they would just, you would have had an apprentice license, but you couldn't, have your own, like, hunting license until you were 10.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But I like to touch on something you said about, excuse me, when geese locked up, and you said after that you were hooked. I know I kind of touched on it a couple, like 2 weeks ago, but during that early goose season hunt, we had a little kid there with us. He's like 7 or 8, maybe, I don't know, 8 or 9, 10 maybe. And he never been waterfowl. That was his first like taste of waterfowling, and they were cupped up, and I was running the camera, and I just hear, oh my God. I just hear him say, oh my God, they're doing it. And then they're just like locked up, and they're coming flying over us. And I mean, he could, like, the whole time we were hunting, like, that's all he was talking about, was just how the geese were working us. And even though they didn't really commit, but they were, they're circling us, and you could hear the wings flap, and you could hear them talking. And I mean, that's what it's all about. Is just getting new people introduced to the sport, and just especially I think you still have that same feeling, the same expression, no matter how old you get.
Yeah, absolutely. I love getting new people out. I'm a mentor for the First Hunt Foundation. They're originally based here out of Idaho. The whole point of them is to get new people out hunting. It doesn't matter if it's a 10-year-old kid taking him duck hunting, or if, like we were saying earlier, an 84-year-old lady that wants to go shoot her first deer. The whole point of that's getting people out, getting them introduced to the sport. And even with people that aren't new to hunting, if I got somebody come up to me and say, hey, can I go hunting with you? Hell yeah, let's go. Get in the truck. I don't care who they are. I don't care what their experience level is. I love meeting new people. I love getting out and hunting with new people, and just making new friendships.
So this Hunt First program. So like, let's say that I wanted to go. Would they supply like everything, or what would I have to supply for myself to do to go on like this program? Just be like just the license, or would you be responsible for clothing as well, or what?
I mean, ideally, you want to try and have enough, have your license. If you've got a firearm that works for you, some mentors have extra firearms. But we generally, I'll supply. I'll supply shift. If I'm taking someone duck hunting, I'm going to supply the shells. If I've got camo that'll fit them, I'll try and supply
Right.
everything.
Yeah.
And make it.
So it's like a
work.
case by case basis, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
how long have you been doing this? How long have you been taking people out?
Been a mentor with them for two years, I believe. I'm bad with trying to think of how long I've been doing anything.
Well, my next question might not be worse. Like, approximately, like, how many people have you taken out over that course of that 2 years?
For new people, they've never done it. Right around about 10, I think.
Yeah.
So
was it duck, or was it deer,
or? Just mainly duck hunting, because it's easy to it's easy to set up for that, where deer hunting is going to take a lot more, most of the time setting up a camp and all that. And
being on the West Coast,
a little bit easier to communicate, safety and all that stuff too, duck hunting. Like somebody who's never been out, being able to communicate what they've got to do, in the moment. Whereas, you're going deer hunting or whatever else, and you got to be a little bit quiet. You may, walk them through some stuff before you get out to the field, but, there's stuff that they might not remember or whatever. So I could see duck hunting being a little bit easier in that aspect and trying to help somebody, along the way. But do you ever take people out like prior to like go shoot trap, or like, go to the range, do anything like that prior to putting them, in a stand or in a blind?
No, I haven't. I'm sure it's probably not a bad idea to do that. But, you know, I try and keep it to, like with what you're saying, a controlled, you know, controlled environment to where it's not going to, you know, I can kind of keep control over what's happening. You know, if you're sitting in a duck blind, you know, you can still talk to them and everything. You only got to be quiet when you know, when you see birds that might want to be coming in. I love pheasant hunting because doing something like that with upland game birds, because you can be as loud as you want, the birds are going to sit most of the time.
I feel like pheasant is like a higher like risk factor with that too than duck. Like, have you had like any like close calls with taking new people out, or is they generally kind of had good finger control and like muzzle control, stuff like that?
It's usually pretty good. I mean, with something like that, you know, if I'm out hunting, you know, if I'm out hunting upland game birds with my buddies or something, or with my son, you know, we'll be spread out because
Right.
everybody knows what they're supposed to do. If I'm going to take a new person out doing something like that, I'm not going to be spread out away from them. I'm going to be fairly close to
That
them,
makes sense. Yeah.
but I'm also going to be staying behind them too. You know, if I'm taking somebody new out, wanting to get them into the experience of it, you know, I'm going to let them, you know, I may not even take a gun so that I can
Yeah,
focus on
yeah. You've
making
killed them
it the best
before.
experience for them.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's the one thing that I've always wanted to do, and I really haven't had the chance is hunting pheasants. Um, we're doing it next year when we go to Kansas. I'm looking forward to. But man, they're some pretty birds, especially the roosters.
Oh yeah, they're very pretty birds.
So
Yeah, they're awesome.
have you ever duck hunted outside of Idaho?
I have not yet.
So
I
that's what I was wondering.
haven't had the opportunity. Haven't had the opportunity to. You know, I'd like to have had plenty of. I've had plenty of invites from people to go duck and goose hunting outside Idaho. Just, you know, having the time to do it.
Yeah, so because I was just wondering if you were able to, or if you've talked to other people maybe who have, what's the difference between hunting outside of, you know, a state like, you know, Idaho or just that region in general, um, versus, you know, some other states or, you know, the Midwest or even, you know, as far west as the Pacific Fly or the far Pacific Flyway.
You kind of broke up on that first part there.
But yeah, I was just wondering if you've talked to anybody or if you've you know ever you know ran into anybody who's been able to explain to you, you know, like not necessarily explain to you because you know what Idaho hunting is, but you know the difference between, you know, Idaho hunting and, you know, hunting the Midwest or hunting the Atlantic Flyway or hunting, you know, like California or the West Coast, because I just feel like that like duck hunting in Idaho to me would be a different experience than duck hunting in a whole lot of places, at least in my opinion or from my perspective.
It can be, and I mean it's different hunting the western side of the state where I live versus hunting the eastern side of the state. You know, I got a buddy that lives over in eastern Idaho that they get a whole lot colder temperatures over there, and it'll just push birds in like crazy. Like last year, you know, he was limited out almost every time he'd go out the first few weeks of the season. Where for us over on this side of the state, you know, it never got cold enough to even make the lakes or ponds freeze over, so we hardly got anything.
So when you say like he was leaving out like the first couple weeks of the season, was that like beginning of October, mid October,
Yeah,
when that big snowstorm came through?
yeah, for them over there. Their season opens the first Saturday of October.
Yeah.
And
Did y'all get hit with that snowstorm too? Because whenever me and my dad we were in North Dakota, we got hit pretty hard with that snowstorm. I think it was like the second or third week of October.
Eastern Idaho did, I think, but over here in
Yeah.
Western Idaho, we did.
Yeah. Right. But you said like where your buddy was at when he was just slaughtering them. I would assume that's what like a lot of that kind of like that snow kind of pushing down a lot.
Yeah, they get it's almost a different climate over there sometimes. You know, they'll get a bunch of snow. You know, they could have 6 inches of snow on the ground and, you know, 30 degrees. And at the same time over here on our side of the state, you know, we're sitting at 55 degrees and just, you know, just
That's crazy.
praying for a week of cold
Yeah.
weather so it'll freeze the lakes over.
So what's the difference in the
Well,
terrain? You know, like is one side like more mountainous versus the other side, you know,
not, or what's the terrain look like?
They're just they're a little higher elevation than what we are. Right
Okay.
in the Boise area, it kind of almost sits in like a bowl, where it the elevation drops just enough to where one side of the valley is snow, and then once you start coming into town, it drops down and everything turns to rain. Then get to the other side of the valley and it kicks back up and everything turns back to snow again.
Okay. So those higher elevation areas, like, and this is just my experience duck hunting. A lot of the ducks that I've hunted, they follow a major river or a major waterway through the migration. So those higher elevation areas, are there river? It might sound like a stupid question. So I know there's water, I know there's river, but like, are there major waterways that they're following through, to get through those mountainous areas?
There are some rivers that come down through the northern part of the state. For our side of the state, we've got like the Salmon River, Payette River. They all eventually drain off into the Snake River, which is the big main body of water that comes through the southern part of the state. And that one it comes through the southern part of the state, kind of starts heading back north, and then ties into the Columbia River. So there's really there isn't really a major, say like the Mississippi River, where that runs
Right.
north south. We don't have anything like that.
Well, I know you listen to most of the podcasts, not all of them, but next year when I move back to Indiana, maybe I'll have to do a hunt swap. Come over and hunt the Mississippi Flyway. We can maybe do like a pronghorn or whitetail hunt out there, something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool. Get you out of the state of Idaho if possible.
You guys got whitetail over there already. We got those big mule deer. That's
Oh yeah. That's what I want. I want a nice mule deer. So I feel like each flyway kind of has like their, each even really state has their, like the main duck they kill. Like South Carolina, it's just woodies everywhere. Mississippi, you got Mississippi flyway, you got greenheads. Like, what's like the main duck you guys kill, or like it's easiest to target in Idaho?
For us, it's going to be mallards.
Yeah.
So and
it's 7 over there, right? You can kill 7.
Yeah. 7. I think it's one hen mallard. I never try. I never really go for the hens.
Right.
But we do have some pintail. We do have some wood ducks. Some of the scops, but everything is, for the most part, mallards are what I go after, because for one, it's a bigger duck. I get more meat off of it.
Yeah.
You probably have some awesome scenery out there, like out on the water.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say too. Like, can you hunt? Like, do you hunt a lot of fields, like, or is it mainly like puddles that you hunt, or is it just mix?
It's a mix. I'll target Canada geese in fields, and
Yeah.
then I'll target ducks either on small ponds or on one of the rivers around here. But if we're out duck hunting on a river and we get geese fly over, I'm not gonna shy away from taking a shot if they're within range.
Yeah, for sure.
And same thing, if we're goose hunting and we see ducks flying over, we're gonna start racking on the duck calls and try and get those to come in just to get some shots at them.
Yeah. That was my first. We were able to hunt a field last year in North Dakota. I've talked about it a couple times on here. I'm sure people who listen are probably getting annoyed with it, but it's just weird for guys
sure
from
as
like.
Hell I am.
Yeah. Where it's like from the part of the country me and Ben are from, because like you said, it's mainly geese that we're able to hunt fields in, and when we scouted this field out, it was mainly geese. It was Canadians, and it had some specks in there. There's some mallards mixed in with them. So and we were expecting just to just slaughter the geese, and coming to find out we ended up killing a 3-man limit of mallards and widgeons and gadwalls, and it was just weird because the day before we scouted it, there was very few ducks. Like, they were sprinkled in there. And I know ducks with, I know they're laying with geese. Geese are really good confidence decoys for ducks, but it just blew our minds. Being able to kill that many ducks in a field. But yeah, I was just like, do you have like full body duck decoys or is it like you said, like, mainly geese?
For my field decoys, everything I've got's just the goose decoys. I do have, I've got a couple. They're kind of an old shell type duck decoy that I could throw out in the field if I wanted to. But yeah, for the field decoys, we got mostly full body Bigfoot geese and some shells that we run.
So do you have any like the big shell decoys, like the big Berthas?
No, I don't have.
They look like
swans. Don't have any of those.
No. So me and Ben were talking about it. I was looking on, or I think it was on like Hardcore Waterfowler or All Things Waterfowl, one of the pages that we spam with our podcast. And so the guy was asking about it, and I saw nothing but you had any or if you used them, but might be worth a shot to look into them, man.
I've seen them, but I've never used them.
They look like freaking swans painted black and brown, man.
Yeah, man,
they're huge.
They are gigantic. I mean, if you go out and you're setting a spread every morning, they might be a little hard to run. But like for us, when we used them during snow goose season, and when you're setting 1,000, 2,000 decoys, you're leaving those decoys out in the field, throughout the whole season. So that it was easy for us because they were so big. I mean, you could hide a person underneath them. So we would leave them out rather than pack them in and out because that would just be a pain in the ass. Yeah, Jason. So I feel like it'd be kind of crazy being out there and seeing some of the wildlife, seeing some of the mountains and seeing some of the views and the scenes and be able to connect with the nature out there and just be able to connect with the wildlife, connect with what you see and connect with what you experience in a lot of different aspects than you would anywhere else in the country. So is that something that you feel is prominent to the area that you're in?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can get some areas that you can get to that, you are going to be completely miles away from any kind of civilization. And, nothing's better, of course it's not so much with duck and goose hunt, but, nothing's better than, being 10, 12,000 feet in elevation up on top of a mountain. And you actually have to use binoculars to be able to see even where the road's at. I love that. That's what I love about Idaho, just getting out, out back into some of the areas. Cause I mean, we've got a lot of beautiful scenery to look at. And, even down along the Snake River and stuff, I've got one place that I go hunt that's right off, it's a field right off the river. You've got, across the river, you've got a big, set of rolling foothills that, on the other side of that's town. And then back behind you got more hills that, there ain't going to be any kind of a house or anything like that for probably the next 50 miles.
That's crazy. I think a lot, especially with like deer hunting, or at least east side of deer hunting, you go, that's like your escape. You go out there and just, it's just you and your thoughts. But I mean, 9 times out of 10, even when I'm still sitting in the deer stand, like at least where I've hunted, I still hear cars passing. I still hear gunshots. Opening day, east side of the Mississippi, it's just like World War II. And if other than opening day and whatnot, it's still relaxing to me to sit in a tree or even in a blind, whatever it is, and just kind of just be in the moment. Like you said, it's just when you're sitting up on that ridge glassing and there's literally nothing around you for miles and miles, that has to even like feel even nicer, you know what I mean? That you don't have anywhere to go, you don't have nothing to do. All you gotta do is just sit on this ridge and look for antelope, and then you give it an hour or 2 hours and you pack up and you go somewhere else. And I feel like that type of hunting, like that glassing and spot stock, is just even more relaxing than, you know, sitting in a tree or, you know, something along the lines like that. I think that's the big appeal going to the West Coast, is just the pure openness and just the sheer amount of land that's out there. Of course, the game doesn't help. I mean, who doesn't want to go kill a mule deer or an elk? But
Yeah.
I feel like that has to be just so like calming and like peaceful. You know what I mean?
That's probably one of my favorite parts, is just getting, like you said, get up on a high ridge where you can see for 10 miles, and just sit up there, pull out the binoculars, look for animals, and then once you do find one, you know, figure out how you're gonna approach to get in close enough to try and harvest that animal. And, you know, then of course after you harvest it, that's when all the work starts. So now you got to figure out how to get it out.
So that's always been the question. I know we're getting a little bit off topic of waterfowl, but that's always been a topic, or like I've always wondered, is you have to buy like specific packs to like haul out animals? And I know you have to, like, they have like them those big socks, right? You can throw like quarters down in. Especially like an elk. How do you? I know you quarter it, and then like how does it fit in the backpack? I guess, like if you do get one that's like specifies for packing out an animal.
If I got to pack it out, I'm gonna remove all the bone that I can, put it in game bags, and throw it in a pack and haul it out. Yeah, it could take 4 to 6 trips, depending on the size of the animal.
Right. How big are the loins on that thing? I feel like the loins are just massive.
So on like an elk, backstrap's probably about 4 inches diameter, 4 or 5 inches in diameter.
The tree trunk, yeah. How long? How long?
They'll be, they're good. Mature bulls, be about 2 to 3 feet.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always heard elk is very good, and I've had elk, like at restaurants. I've never had it like cook, like kill, clean, cook. I never had an elk prepared like that. Is it very similar to venison?
It's better, I think.
Better? Yeah. Yeah, I bet. Man, I'm ready to go on my elk hunt. Man, I'll be watching like Outdoors TV or whatever, and I like watching Michael Waddell. Right? I like watching Bone Collector. And they'll go, this last season I watched, they went like elk hunting. There was like 8 episodes of them out west, just bouncing from state to state to state, killing elk. I'm like, man, from just like we were talking about the scenery, just the total experience. Because I mean, me and Ben talked about it last episode. I feel like where we are, like in a state, like in our lives, like we're just there for the experience, whether we kill something or not. Like I want to hear that elk bugle 50 yards from me and feel it in my chest. You know what I mean? I want to be able to witness the tornado during the snow goose season. You know what I mean? Whether we limit out or we fill our tags or not, like I want to go for the experience and just like take everything in. So I feel like the out west is like the perfect atmosphere.
Yeah, we're pretty blessed to have what we have.
Yeah, for sure. So we were talking a little bit about the like what you kill the most during the season. What are some species that you're like, what the hell is this doing here? Whether you killed it or someone else.
As far as ducks,
Yeah.
mergansers. There's an ugly bird.
just regular like lawn dots or hooded mergansers.
I personally haven't seen a hooded merganser yet, but just the common merganser.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you
Those
just
are
not
like
get
if
very
someone
many of
killed.
them?
I'm starting to see more and more of them as I go along. I mean, uh, you know, uh, even like I killed my first shoveler last year, and that was a surprise to me. I when I shot it, I thought it was a widgeon because the way it was up, and then when I shot it, it dropped. My dog brought it back to me. I'm looking at this going, like, wait a minute, what is it? It's like, this is a shoveler. Like, when did we get these things around here?
That's awesome, man.
My buddy that I was hunting with, he goes, yeah, I've killed a couple of them. He goes, but not many of them. I'm all like, well, kind of cool.
So I don't know why. Like I've ran into a ton of people. I mean, even the Midwest who they say that they've never killed a shoveler or shovelers on their bucket list. It's just because it's one of the rare ducks that they get to see. But man, for some reason, in the when I was in Missouri, I would destroy shoveler, and I don't know what it was. Like they seemed to just gravitate to me. But like I would talk to other people and be like, man, I just seem to just be shooting a bunch of shoveler this year. And they'd be like, yeah, that's crazy because we don't ever see them, we don't ever shoot them. So, I mean, they're fun ducks. Those shoveler are. I mean, they decoy well. There's a lot of people who won't shoot them, but I mean, I'll shoot anything that comes as a decoy as long as it's legal. But
Right.
Yeah, that's how I am.
So have you seen a lot of cinnamon teal out there? I've heard that like West Coast and in towards Texas is a pretty good place to kill cinnamon. So have you seen a lot of those? I know you said you don't have like a specific teal season, but
I have seen some, but they like to hang out on private property that is owned by somebody that doesn't allow anybody to hunt.
Yeah.
So yeah, they seem to be a pretty smart bird.
What's some what do you get a lot of divers out there, or are they kind of mainly like on the river, like the big water?
Out along the Snake River, we'll see a lot of the divers, the golden eyes, buffleheads. But especially with them golden eyes, they're going 90 miles an hour, and they're on a mission flying down the middle of the river.
They don't care about you.
Yeah, there are some guys that target them, and they've got the setup for them to get them to do that.
Yeah.
I don't have a boat. I don't have the decoys. So the way I see it, if they want me to shoot at them, they need to compensate a little bit and veer off course and come into my mallard decoys.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So we did a giveaway. We gave it away on Monday. Your lanyard and your game tote. How long have you had Ackley Outdoors? And then kind of just tell us like what you're about.
So I started Ackley Outdoors probably 6-8 months ago. I see a lot of guys advertising online, the call lanyards, and they're always these really big fancy lanyards. They got a lot of rings, they got a lot of different knots and different colors, and I'm more of a simple type of guy. I don't need all that kind of bling on my hanging around my neck. They're nice looking lanyards. I'm not saying that that they're bad. It's not my style. So I wanted to start making lanyards, and the simple hunter's one of the types that I make, and and it's just that it's a simple lanyard. It's not overly expensive, and it's just there to hold. It's there to hold your duck calls, and it looks good, and that's what I was going for.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. That's one thing that run into with waterfowl hunters is there seems to be a faction of waterfowl hunters who they want everything that they can buy and they'll spend as much money as they possibly can at any point in time. And I think they're kind of like a minority. I think the average hunter, they want to get what works, and so like I'm one of those people where I won't go and drop, tons of money, especially on something like a lanyard, that's bulky and more than what I need. And so I think what you're talking about, what you've got going, there's a market for that isn't being filled, because when you look at, stuff within, the waterfowl industry, you've got Drake, and you've got Sitka, and you've got these big brands, Avery, all these big brands that are charging, way more than what the product is worth, and it's way more than what you need to get the job done. So I definitely think that what you're talking about, that the majority of waterfowl hunters fall into the the category of what you're targeting.
Yeah.
And you all, I mean, you hand make all of your lanyards, right?
Yeah. All my lanyards, dog collars, everything that I'm making out of the paracord, everything's all tied by hand. I don't even know if they make machines that could tie it for me, and if they did, I probably couldn't afford it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like you can buy a Drake, or like what Ben was saying, but it's probably not gonna be the quality of what you're making and what you're putting out. And then, we've talked about it before too with Jacob, Shipman, and Joey. It's just they're not, the big companies are gonna put in the time or the care that someone like you are. You're gonna make it right, and you're gonna make it to where the customer is satisfied whenever they get it.
Yeah, every lanyard that I make, I end up regretting sending it out because I want to keep it for myself.
Yeah.
The last one that I made was for Casey Hartwell, the guy that started the Hunt Bums. I made him, had the 3 double drops, and then had two more drops off the side for his Mojo remotes. And I got done with that thing. I sent him pictures of it. He really liked it, and I start packaging it up and everything. And I hesitate on sealing the box. I'm like, man, I don't want to get rid of this thing.
Yeah.
I want to keep this thing for myself. But no, I sealed it up and sent it off. I guess I'll just have to get some more of those colors and make myself another one.
So if someone's listening to the podcast and they say, you know what, I need a new lanyard, I'm gonna contact Mr. Allen about getting one. Can I get whatever colors they want, or do you only have certain in stock that you use, or?
I have a limited supply of paracord in stock. I mean, if that color can be made, I'll order it for them. If I've got somebody right now that wants one that's red and black. I've got some red and black, so I'm gonna start working on tying that one up either today or tonight or tomorrow. But if somebody wants one that's like an olive green and a multi camo, I may not have enough of that. I will order it in just to be able to make it for that person. And I'm going to customize it to however they want. I've made one actually for the guy that runs the All Thing Waterfowl page. It's got 3 single drops on the bottom and a drop for a whistle on the side. That's what he wanted. But if somebody wants 5 double drops and 4 of them to be removable so that they can move them wherever they want, and a drop for a whistle, I'm going to make it for them. I'm going to look into the detail of it. Hey, are you shoot left-handed or right-handed? Oh, well, I shoot left-handed. Okay, so you want me to put the whistle drop on the right side so it's not in the way of your shotgun.
So do you make, I know you said collars and, these already covered game totes and lanyards. What about like, I see a lot of guys with like the rangefinders. They'll have like the kind of like the over the sling range for their rangefinder. Do you make that, or could you? I'm sure you could. And then what about like bow slings? Like, have you tried making a bow sling or anything like that, or a rifle sling?
I haven't. If someone was interested in having me make one, I would most definitely look into it.
So
I wish you told me that like 2 months ago. I just ordered one from a guy on Facebook.
So do people actually like? Do you have like a website that people place orders through, or do they contact you, and you work out the customization of it?
I don't have a website yet. I'm not I'm not that technically savvy. I mean, I do pretty much. I run everything off of Facebook. You know, I've got a page on Facebook. It's Ackley Outdoors. Um, you know, it's going to have my logo as a profile picture, the AO, and then it's going to have for the cover photo, it's going to have a picture of my dog Ackley on it. And you know, people can contact me through there. Um, you know, I try my hardest to try and get back to people as quick as possible to talk with them, see what they want. And you know, just try and go from there, get an idea of what they're wanting. Um, you know, either compare it to one of the lanyards that I've already made, or I'll draw something out on paper for them. Hey, you know, send a picture to them. Hey, is this what you're looking at? Like, that's what I want. Okay, we'll get it set up. We'll take care of it.
So what made you start Ackley Outdoors? Was it just something that there's like a niche in where you're at that you thought that you could fulfill, or is it just something that you like doing anyway, might as well get paid for it while you do it?
Well, what originally started, I don't know, years ago, somebody had given me one of those paracord survival bracelets, and you know, I had that kind of sitting in a drawer, and then one day I pulled it out of a drawer, and I was looking at it. I'm like, you know, I could make these things. And you know, there's plenty of people online all over the country that are making stuff like that. But as far as for like around here in Idaho, there's not a whole lot of people that are making stuff out of paracord that I know of. I do know one person or a couple people that do. One of them, they make, you know, just lanyards. That's all they make, is just lanyards. And you know, it gives me part of it. It's something, you know, it's something to do while I'm sitting down watching TV. I'm just sitting there tying everything up. But you know, then when I decided to finally start making them and selling them, I made a lanyard for a buddy of mine for his birthday, and you know, I gave it to him, and he was like, "Man, this is nice." He's like, "You ought to start making these." It's like, "Nah, it's not it's not worth my time." And then next thing I know, you know, he showed it to somebody else, and you know, they're hitting me up, you know, "Hey, would you make me one of those? How much would you charge?" I don't know. I guess I'll figure something out. And you know, I started getting more and more people locally that were like, "Hey, you know, can you make this? Can you make that?" And I'm all like, you know, yeah, I think I can. And so I just saw like, well, you know, if I'm going to start making this stuff, I might as well, you know, have some sort of a name to put behind it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so did you name the company after your dog, or your dog after the company? What
Pretty
came
much
first?
I pretty much named it after my dog.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a name, and you know, I had a couple buddies that are all like, "Oh, you know, you should do like, you know, you should name it 208 Paracord." I'm like, well, then, you know, then I'm you know, restricting it just to, you know, Idaho,
Yeah.
kind of. And I was like, well, you know, I'm gonna make, you know, stuff for, you know, for hunters and outdoorsmen. I was all like, so, and I just happened and I was actually just sitting on the couch. I was like, damn, what am I gonna name this? About the time my dog pops his head up and turns around and looks at me, I'm like, Ackley Outdoors. He starts wagging his tail. I'm like, all right, well, you like it,
That's
so
settled.
we'll run with it.
Yeah, that's funny. So if someone is interested in getting something from you, what are your like? What's some of your prices? Like, if there's more drops, is it increase the price, or is it like kind of like a one price for a lanyard, one price for a collar?
I try and keep it pretty universal as far as the lanyards go. You know, if somebody wants, you know, just a lanyard with with, the 3 double drops and maybe a hook for a whistle, you're looking at about $40 delivered to your door. Now, if they start wanting, all these double drops to have, be removable so they can move them around and stuff, you're going to add a little bit more because there's a little bit more cost involved with that. The collars, the collars are running right about $50 right now, just because of all the material that goes into them and all the time that goes into them. To tie up a collar is going to take me probably roughly 4 to 5 hours.
So
For that.
How much for like a lanyard? Sorry, Ben.
You're good.
But
Go
while
ahead.
we're on the subject,
What was that?
how long did it take you to do like a lanyard or like a game toe?
So the lanyard, it takes me probably roughly about 3 hours, start to finish to tie one up. Game tote, they're a little quicker. They're probably closer to about 1.5 hours, 2 hours to do a game tote.
So what do you typically make? Like what is the most popular type of lanyard or game tote that you're typically working on?
Well, so far almost every one that I've made's been the simple hunter line. I made another one, another type that I call it the waterfowler line or waterfowl line. And the one that I made was actually, it was to kind of mimic the colors of a Drake mallard. So up across the back of the neck was the green. The main body of the lanyard is like a chestnut brown. 2 of the drops are white, and then the 2 drops on the bottom are orange.
That's awesome. That's actually pretty cool. I'm probably have to order one from you because I absolutely hate my lanyard. So it comes down, right? It comes down to 2 like rings, and then it doesn't like come down to like a point like yours is. It just comes down to 2 rings, and then like one side always gets like longer than the other, and I absolutely hate it. I've had it forever, but it's just I didn't know really anything else. I didn't know anyone that makes it. You know what I mean? And I see some, but like at Gander or Cabela's, I'm like, well, I already got one, so why spend the money? But I mean,
I think lanyards is
like
something
I said,
that
I
we don't really
absolutely
think
hate
about
it.
as hunters. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I mean,
and then
they're
like
just,
the
they're just
top
something
around the neck is,
they're just something like
and the
you
top
said,
around the neck is like Ben. Why?
Dude, you're talking the same time I'm talking.
Why, Ben?
Go ahead, man. Finish your thought.
Thank you. But like around the neck is like blaze of orange, and I just thought that was always like the stupidest thing. Because like, I'm always like checking it because it's probably not gonna flare birds, but with it being that bright, I'm always trying to like hide it and tuck it away because I don't want, especially if I'm getting invited somewhere, I don't want to be the reason why we're flaring birds, right? I already have bad luck where I go. I don't want to flare birds. So I mean, again, I'm probably just overthinking it, but it's still just like it's all brown, like you said, like that chestnut brown. Then at the very top, it's blaze orange. It's the damnedest thing. I got it in a trade when I was in like middle school or high school, and I've had it ever since. It's just I'm ready for something else, and especially if like what you're saying, that you can kind of customize to like a specific customer what they want. Why not spend the money and get exactly what you want? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and another thing with my lanyards is, when someone first looks at them compared to, some of the other lanyards I've seen, some of the other custom lanyards that I've seen, is people look at mine and be like, man, it looks like you made that for a kid. Like that's just small. But the reason behind it is because I made it so it sits up closer to you. Some of the areas where I go hunting in the river, if I've got my calls hanging down to my belly button,
Dipping in the river water.
I have to
Happens every
cross the
time.
river, and now next thing I know, I go to blow my duck call, and I'm spitting river water out the backside of it. So I want my calls to
Yeah.
sit up higher.
I'll always
And so
mark mine in my waders when I'm going out if I have to do that, and it's annoying as hell.
Yeah, I always try to
yeah,
do the same thing. And like, so
yeah. Last thing
I'll go to get my calls and I'll pick them up. And then like, the next day or the next time I go out and hunt, my calls, like they kind of have like a stink to them. And I'm like, why do my calls smell so bad? And I remember like, I had them dunked in this salt water when I was walking around and they're trying to pick up my decoys. So yeah, I mean, I 100% understand why you would make something like that.
Yeah, I'd be like, why does my calls smell like mold? Like I ain't putting that up to my mouth. Somebody else is blowing calls today. I'm not touching it.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, it's just lanyards aren't something that we think about a lot. Like Levi said, it's you have one and you think it's what I've got. So I'm just going to deal with it, and you don't really think about replacing it, but um, we all have issues with our lanyards. I mean, a lot of people run into and they're like, man, I don't like this lanyard. Well, you don't get a new one. Well, I've got this one. I mean, I do the same thing. I mean, mine's not perfect. I don't like it. I don't, there was one year Levi and I were hunting one day and I went and I threw my decoys and my whistle drop got snagged on one of the lines and it ripped the clip out and we ended up like trying to, I ended up finding it right before we left that day. But like, so now that clip's all busted up and it's barely hanging on there, but I'm like, I'm just not going to get a new lanyard because I already have this one. So, I mean, we all kind of do that, but, and I think
Yeah. I forgot about that.
yeah, man. So like, I think, yeah, but like we were all,
Ben,
what's up? Go ahead, man.
so was that the hunt that Levi killed the black duck?
Yeah, Jason, you're opening up a sore wound with the black duck conversation. Levi gets a little upset.
Obviously not on my end.
Levi gets a little upset whenever I tell the. He gets upset when I tell the true story, but we'll for Levi's sake, Levi's sanity, we'll kind of navigate towards. You're talking about dog collars, and you're talking to us a little bit before we started recording about your dog collars. You want to go ahead and kind of for the viewers that are watching on YouTube, kind of show that collar and then talk about kind of what you do with it and the process that goes through with it.
Yeah, so this particular collar that I got right here actually is my dog's collar. So this one is Ackley's collar. So it's just got the plastic quick release buckle to it, leash holder, but you can see it's just a series of a bunch of knots all the way around. And this one right here, I believe this is I think a 21 or 22 inch collar, and it takes roughly about 70 to 80 feet of paracord to tie this one up.
Damn. So if someone does want to order a collar from you, how do they get that measurement? Like, they measure their dog's neck and then add like 2 inches or something like that to it, or?
What I will always recommend to guys is kind of take if you've got a soft tape measure, put that around their neck, kind of get the slack that you want into that. Obviously you don't want to have the collar too tight, it'll choke your dog. You don't want it too loose or your dog it'll fall right off your dog. So just kind of figure out the size you want that collar to be, and whatever measurement that is, that's the measurement that I'm going to make it up at.
I got you. That makes sense. 'Cause I mean, I've seen on online when people say you want the collar you want to be able to put 2 fingers in between the collar and the dog's neck. So I don't know if there was but what you said makes sense, and that's probably the easiest way to do it. So, how long has Ackley had that on her or on him?
I think probably 4 months ago. I don't put his collars
Right. Yeah.
when we're hunting, but if we're out and about, or when he's at home in the yard, he's got his collar on. If we're out in public, he's got his collar on. I need to put his ID tags back on it because he got it caught on something and ended up ripping the ring off. So his ID tag's sitting in my truck right now.
And of course, it's in Boise Broncos, blue and orange.
Absolutely, go Broncos.
That's right. You still holding out and still hoping they're going to have a season since Big Ten and Pac-12 said they're playing.
I'm hoping so. There's kind of talk about it, but I'm gonna hope for the best and expect the worst.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's understandable. And I mean, SEC hasn't even opened up play yet, and I'm still watching like every game I can because we don't know how long. I mean, it's going to be open. How they're going to have games, especially at the collegiate level. So I'm trying to watch as much college football as I can before something happens and it gets canceled or whatever happens.
For all
So
this stuff to be over, man. I can't
Yeah,
wait for all this stuff to be over. Look, I'm somebody who does not mind like not being around people. I'm full 100% okay with like the social distancing with or without coronavirus. But I've had enough of all this stuff. Like this teal hunt that I went to, it was a draw. It was a drawing this morning, and they didn't have the facility open. They didn't have restrooms open. They didn't have, you had to have a mask when you're up there, like drawing in, which I mean, I get it. It's a state-run facility, so it makes sense. But man, if, you're talking about a bunch of hunters getting there at 4:30 in the morning, they just drank 2 cups of coffee on the drive there, and a lot of them are spit and dip. They probably got to run to the bathroom. You're not letting them just because coronavirus. So it's starting to just impact our public land facilities and stuff like that at the same time.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm ready for it to be over. I'm ready for it to go back to normal. I am kind of liking the idea of Canada being closed down to people coming across. Maybe there'll be more birds to come down for us.
That is true. That is true, man. I didn't even think about that.
I just hope like states like North Dakota or South Dakota doesn't just get overran and it kind of screws people over for the following years. We kind of talked about it with Mikkel. Well, if the people do go, I hope they're just respectful and they're not assholes. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I appreciate you coming on and talking to us. Because I mean, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I don't think I've ever talked to anyone from Idaho, much less hunting Idaho. So
Yeah.
we definitely need to link up. A couple years down the road and take you on the Mississippi, something like that. Show you that side, the side of the country hunting.
Flooded
Absolutely.
cornfields.
Is there anything where can people follow you at? Yeah, right. Yeah, all the flooded cornfields. Where can people follow you? American Waterfowl, Ackley, or the Hunt First program?
So I really don't have anything as far as the First Hunt Foundation. I mean, you can look them up online. It's firsthuntfoundation.com, and based out of Chemie, Idaho is the main headquarters for it. They're still pretty small, so I mean, if there's people that want to get involved with it, I'm sure they probably wouldn't shy away from having mentors joining from other states and kind of getting stuff set up that way. For American waterfowlers, I've got the page on Facebook is also linked with Instagram. Mostly what I throw up on that right now is just a lot of hunting related memes. Just keep everything lighthearted. Sometimes I'll take a jab here and there, but most of the time it's just good, clean, fun humor. Also have a group on Facebook too. Right now we're almost at 2,500 members. Once we hit that 2,500 member mark, I'm giving away a custom lanyard. Whoever wins it gets their choice of whatever they want on that lanyard. So that one's coming up here pretty quick. I also have my own personal Instagram. It's at Idaho Waterfowl Addict on Instagram. Like I said earlier, I'm not too technically savvy, so I don't do the whole Twitter thing like you guys do. And also,
you're better off without doing Twitter.
Yeah, for the most part. But no, finish what you have to say. It's not waterfowl related. You can finish what you're going to say.
So, and I was also going to say, I've also just here recently partnered up with Casey Hartwell at huntbums.com. I just wrote a blog piece on that. It's not only a blog, but it's also a forum. So if people are interested in getting involved with that, they can go to huntbums.com, sign up as a member with that and be able to partake in the forum, ask questions, answer questions that people might have. It's a lot less ruthless than, say, some of these groups on Facebook where you ask an innocent question and all of a sudden the trolls come out from under every
people
bridge.
Get crazy with it, man. People go nuts with that stuff. Like somebody will post an honest question, hey, like how can we get involved, or is there somewhere, just point me in the direction of places I can go find ducks, and that's the worst thing you could possibly ask. But for a new hunter, that's something that is realistic for anybody to ask. Sorry, I get passionate about it, and that I go off on I could go off for another probably 30 minutes just talking about this, but it's something that gets on my nerves. But
it's funny you say that, because on the Virginia page I saw today, someone's like, I'm not finding any ducks. Can anyone help me? And someone said, look harder then. I thought it was funny. But when you ask questions like that, you gotta brace for impact, because there are always going to be trolls that are going to say stuff like that, or
I'm not
just be rude or asshats.
Oh yeah, like I understand, like there's certain lines, there's a fine line to cross. But I get it.
Yeah.
And I get why some people, like on, pretty blatant posts, why people will be like, all right, man, you're asking a pretty dumb question. I get it. But like just simple questions, just somebody who obviously doesn't know, it's that bothers me.
And I don't think that guy was, asking for pins, but at the same time, when you start posting like a bay or a certain part of a river, it kind of gets, that's kind of like a gray area there. But we didn't really talk about American waterfowl, so before you go, I just want to hit on, we talked about it before we started recording, but you said that you started American waterfowl to be able to connect, right? So if someone is from Idaho and they want to do a diver hunt in Maryland, maybe they can link up and swap hunts, right? That's what we were talking about before. If you want to touch on that more.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the whole reason I started Idaho Waterfowlers was for people to be able to network with other hunters. Obviously, like you said, if somebody wants to, somebody wants to come out to Idaho and do a goose hunt in an old cornfield, hey, I'd like to do this. I'd like to go out to Idaho to do a goose hunt in a cornfield. I've got a 3-acre pond with a blind, or with a pit blind right in the middle of it that just gets loaded up with wood ducks. Somebody tells me that, I'd be like, hey, I'm game. When you want to come out?
Yeah, for sure. You need to talk to Matt Townsend, because he's definitely talking about going to Idaho this next year. So maybe you can talk to him Um, maybe you can come out here to kill you a wood duck.
Yeah, I'll take him out. I mean, I'll have to forewarn him. I'm going to blindfold him before he gets in the truck, and
He
he's going to be
completely
blindfolded
understands.
until after he gets out of the truck. But yeah, I'll take him out some of my spots.
Awesome. And then my non-waterfowl question was, how was it to be a Boise, Idaho fan in 2005? Because y'all were wrecking everyone, it seems like, that year.
Oh, when oh, you mean in 06 when we won the
Yes.
first Fiesta Bowl?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely cloud nine. I mean, because we were always, I mean, all the commentators, all the other teams, nobody had faith in it.
Kind of just wrote you off.
And they just, they're like, no, yeah. I mean, the Oklahoma coach even said, these guys don't deserve to be here. And, then made him eat his words after that.
Yeah.
Even though it was a close game, and I was worried that our quarterback at the time was going to choke out like usual after he throws a couple of picks. But
yeah,
we pulled it out with our head coach that we have now was the offensive coordinator that year, and so he was the one calling the plays.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, I wasn't watching a whole lot of football then because I was 10. But looking back, just looking at y'all's year and watching games and clips, it's just, just amazing as like a small school. I'm going to say you are a small school, but you're not really like a football school. You know what I mean? And then you had in a little lull, and then your early 10s, you guys peaked back again, man. It's just, I mean, I was rooting for you. I didn't even know where Boise was on the map, but I was like, man, I like this team because, again, it's not your Alabama, your USC, or your Florida. And as a Kentucky fan, I completely understand everything you're saying. People saying that you don't belong there, or people just kind of writing you off. So I definitely get it.
It's hard not to root for them because, I mean, it's like they're like at that time they were like the ultimate underdog, and whole Cinderella story. You go up against a big team and beat them, and nobody expected you to beat them. And now then it kind of started getting to the point where a lot of the big teams didn't want to play Boise State because they knew that there's a chance that they could lose. And I don't think they wanted to play Boise State. Now they're starting to get recognized where they're where they're getting some of these bigger games now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, it's just I feel that way against Vandy in basketball. There you go. That's right. I mean, I feel that way against Vandy in basketball because, I mean, you don't want to get beat by them, but there's always a chance that they can beat you because, I mean, think like last year they were like 0-10 or 0-9 in conference play in basketball, but it's always like it's Vandy. What I mean? I'm not saying that you're the Vandy of football because that'd be just disrespectful because Vandy sucks and everything but baseball. But yeah, I mean, I definitely get it. And then especially back then, it was just it wasn't the BCS, it was the FBS, right? That
was still in the BCS area.
Yeah, BCS, right. It's just if you lose one game, I mean, that could be your ticket out of the national championship. So it's a little bit different now since you have 14 playoff. But yeah, I mean, if you lose one game, you might not be playing in the BCS bowl. So, but yeah, I appreciate you coming on, talking football and talking ducks and elk, whatever, all that we talked about. And if you guys are looking at getting a lanyard or a collar or a sling, I'm sure he can make whatever you guys want. Go to Ackley Outdoors on Facebook. Follow American Waterfowl. He has a page and a group for networking. So follow that. And then if you have any other question, I'm sure, whether it's the East Coast or the West Coast hunting or lanyards, whatever, I'm sure if they message your personal profile, I'm sure you wouldn't mind. That's how me and you started talking. Is just I joined American Waterfowl and we started talking, going back and forth. And you really liked the podcast, and it just kind of just went from there. So, yeah, hit him up, ask him questions about whatever you guys need. I'm sure he'll do his best to help you out. So, I appreciate you coming on, Mr. Jason, and I hope you have a very successful duck season this year.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I've always been told I
Yes,
could
sir.
bullshit a bullshitter, so I'll talk
Yeah.
to anybody. I'll talk to anybody, especially when it comes to hunting.
Hey, man, bullshitters are welcome on this
Absolutely.
show.
We said it how many times, Ben? Numerous times. We're the same way. We
Man.
love being out there. We love the experience. And
Absolutely.
We just love talking about it, man. It's what we do. So bullshitters are welcome.
absolutely. But yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
before I go too, I also want to give a shout out to my buddy Dylan Nolan at Kingbird Duck Calls. Good guy, makes good products.
That's like the only good thing coming out of Illinois, right? That's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Yeah, pretty much.
Only good thing in Illinois.
Kingbird. You said Kingbird?
Yeah, Kingbird that's his logo right there.
That's a cool logo. I like that. Do you know where they're at in Illinois?
He's in Wilmington, Illinois.
Wilmington. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got a few of his calls, and I love his calls.
I do like that hat. I like the bars and the stars.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
Cool hat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a badass
I got
hat,
another
man.
new one coming.
Yeah, it's
Got
really
another
cool.
new one coming. It's solid black. I'm waiting for that one.
Yeah, I want to talk to you later, see where you got that hat. Maybe put our logo on, get that same cutout and put our logo on there, Ben. But yeah, again, I appreciate you coming out and talking to us. And we definitely have to, maybe a year or two down the road, we'll have to get together and plan a trip out, man.
Absolutely. Look forward to
Absolutely,
it.
man.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mr. Jason.
I'll take you guys out to my spots too, but same thing goes for you. You're getting blindfolded before you get in the truck, and it doesn't come off till after you're out of the truck.
I mean, that's fine. Like I said, you're the only person I know in Idaho, so I'm not going to tell anyone.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming on, man.
We'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Have a good one.
That was Mr. Jason Allen with American Waterfowl and Ackley Outdoors. Like we said before he left, check out his lanyards. Like I said, he's the one that donated that lanyard and the game tote to us. And he when I say donate, he literally said, just pay for the shipping. That's all I'm asking you guys to do. He's a great guy. He makes, just the picture, I can tell it's good quality.
Yep.
And if you guys want to wait, if you guys don't believe me, that's fine. I get it. Tyler Gale is the one that won the lanyard. So once he receives the lanyard, feel free to message. I'm sure he's not going to care. Message him, say, hey, man, how do you like that lanyard? I'm thinking about getting one.
Yeah. So Tyler Gale. Tyler's a really good friend of mine. We've been good friends since we're probably like 10 or 11, man. And I promise you, I had nothing to do with him winning the winning the lanyard. But he runs the Wreck 'em Waterfowl Facebook page, and so he does he does do like product reviews and stuff like that on his face or on his YouTube page. So and I would imagine he probably will do a product review of it. And if not, maybe we can nudge him in that direction, and he can
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, he seems like he's an all right guy for a Cubs fan. So
yeah, he has his downfalls, but no, he's a good friend. But
you all right? So for everyone not watching YouTube, Ben just took off his headset.
I had to take my headset
I don't
off,
know. Is your dementia acting up?
So no, man. I'm
you know where
outside.
you're at?
I'm sitting outside. And I'm pretty sure the neighbors are fighting. So he got a little.
Well, that's good.
So I mean,
A little bit of domestic abuse never hurt anybody.
yeah, they'll work it out.
Yeah.
No,
Man.
but
I always say that the military guys gets us a bad rep for domestic abuse, man.
yeah, it
You know
doesn't have anything to do with alcohol abuse.
This is your average tip of the week. Don't beat your spouse and drink responsibly, damn it.
Yeah.
That's your average tip of the week, all right? But yeah, I mean, Jason's a great guy. He's been duck hunting for 20 years. And I've seen quite a bit of his pictures, and man, when he says that they field hunt geese, they field hunt geese, man. He stacks them out there, man. And again, it's just,
man. And Idaho's not somewhere you think
yeah,
about them killing a lot of ducks, man.
No, but it kind of makes sense for being right above
It
Canada at the same
100%
time.
makes sense, but like it's just not something to think about.
Yeah, right. Like in theory, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I'd love to go to Idaho and even if it's just Canadians, go kill Canadians. Again, it's just like we were talking about earlier, just the landscape. And he sent me pictures while we were doing the podcast, and I'll forward them to you if he didn't send them to you. But I mean, they're absolutely gorgeous, man. It's just beautiful. Oh, yeah. It looks like no one's ever let step foot there. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that I hate about, not really hate, but it's just, it kind of sucks about the East Coast is that, I mean, hell, our spot that we killed, like the black duck and the widgeons and, you know, a good portion of the birds we killed, I mean, there were shells there before we got there. You know, there was like honey bun wrappers and stuff like that. And that's just, it sucks because, you know, there's guys like us that, you know, if I take a honey bun out there, I'm going to put it back in like a side pocket of my backpack or my blind bag.
Yeah.
And just not everyone cares, you know, I mean, how some of us care. So, and just seeing those pictures and even North Dakota. I mean, I know I go back to North Dakota a lot, but that's the only state I've been to and I've hunted that's out west. So please bear with me. But it's the same way out there. It's just gorgeous country, and it's like you're the first person and only person to step foot there because it's just so well taken care of. And obviously, I'm sure there's spots where, you know, trash. And I get it, but I mean,
there's spots like that everywhere, right? And but they're more abundant out there, right? So like, when you come out here and you go into the pines, you know what I mean? You go into the terrain that they got out here. If there's not a trail there, you know what I mean? Then you're gonna have a hell of a time, you know, getting through it. So like, you know, if there's a trail there, someone else has been through there. But like out there, man, I'm getting a little distracted with this. So I kind of want to like take my headset off and listen to what's going on.
I'm picking them up now.
You can hear them, man.
All right, let's finish it up. Yeah, let's finish this up so we can eavesdrop then. Come on, hurry up. What you got to say out?
But like it's different, you know. Like there's, you know, if there's a trail there, you know, you can get through there. You know what I mean? Like, and you know other people have been there. But like out there, like you get out into the mountains, man, and you don't know what you're like. You don't know what you're seeing. You don't know what you're finding. You don't know who else has been there. You don't. And you're not finding trash because the tides have washed trash up and down the banks for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not going out there and finding, you know, milk jugs that have you know, dates from 2010, you know, washed up on the bank. You know, know what I mean? Like, so I mean, like it's just different, you know, like and I would love to go out there and feel like I'm the only person who's been there in the last 6 months, or the only person who's been there in the last year, or whatever, and have some of the views that you get with having the mountains in the background, and you just don't have that here. You know, like you can get out in these trees and you can find some pretty stuff, but like it's just not the same as. And I've
Yeah.
never been out there, but I've seen the hunting videos. I've seen pictures. I've seen these things from like the West, and it's just amazing and it's breathtaking, and I want to be able to
Yes.
experience being out there with with the environment, and not have to hear, like you said,
Yeah.
cars driving by and
Yeah.
horns honking and
People talking
that kind of
and
stuff.
dogs
People, your
barking.
neighbors arguing.
Yeah, and yeah, right. And even if you think, I feel like the farther west you go, the less it gets too, right? If you really think about it, you have the East Coast where it's just very, especially like along the coast where it's heavy populated. Then you get out to like North Dakota, Idaho, where it's very rural, and like Wyoming, Colorado. And then if you just think about how it is in like Alaska, and then you compare it to like Alaska to ADAC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just, again, like we've talked about it before. It's just, as outdoorsmen, we want to check as many things off the box as we can, see as much stuff as we can see. So,
Absolutely, man.
but yeah, so that's going to about do it for us on this episode of Round the Blind podcast. We were up to like I want to say like 430, 440 in that range. The calls reached over like 3,000 people or 2,000. I don't know. It's between there. But please, if you're new and you're listening to this podcast and you made it this far, me and Ben want to say thank you for listening.
Absolutely.
Again, if you're listening to on Apple, leave us a review, rate us, whatever you think it's worth. And please put in for the call. Please follow all the steps. Please follow all of these steps, because I'd hate for someone to win it and they didn't like something as little as liking our page. So please do everything. And then next week, you're going to be stuck with us the second half of the week, and we're going to do a surprise guest for next week. So please stay tuned. And but yeah, appreciate everyone listening.